I know Nigel's in the background. I think he's just sorting out. Oh, there he is. Let's see if it works. How's that? No.
Got ya.
I was just chatting to him and his internet froze, and I thought, oh no, it's gone again. Well done. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. You all right?
Yeah, not bad. Not bad. Normally we don't have a theme, but we're going to do this quite quickly. Because today, good evening to everyone, by the way. I hope you're all doing well. What I want to discuss, I got involved in a little heated exchange on Twitter. I know I've got to get rid of Twitter. I can't agree with it because every time I go on it, the very few times I go on it, I end up in an argument. So I ended up in an argument tonight about the IWA and what they're planning to do at the stadium tomorrow at the game. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, you probably know more about it than I do, I'm guessing. But
I had a discussion with them yesterday. So,
did you?
Yeah, separately. So,
okay. Yeah. All right. So it's the Ironworks Alliance, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
Now the Ironworks Alliance. Look. Fair play to them. What they're trying to do, the whole idea about the IWA Ironworks Alliance, is that they're trying to generate a better atmosphere at the London Stadium. All right, that's fair enough. Good on them. But I put a reply to one of their tweets today, and I said, would you not be better off, putting your efforts into the Save Our Concessions, which I think is a far more important subject matter at the moment that's affecting fans. And then it just got a bit, it got a bit silly because other people got involved, etc., as usual with Twitter, and it got a little bit sour. So I got a message from someone who's part of the IWA, and he said, look, things are being done, for the betterment of the fan experience and all that sort of stuff. And we tried to get them on, but fair play. It was a bit late in the day, so they didn't have anyone available. But they said, if you want to send us some questions, we'll try and answer them. Now, I've sent them the questions, but fair enough. Again, they're planning to do things at the stadium tomorrow, so they don't have time to do it. But the whole idea is tomorrow they're asking fans to take their scarves and to wave them as the players are coming out. And they've got there you go, you got yours. So you're all ready. You're all ready. There you go. You're bought in.
What way do I have to do it? Are they going to give me a leaflet to show me how to wave my scarf?
Well, there's a leaflet on every seat on the Bobby Moore Lower that I stand in, and also they're going to unfurl or unveil a Tifo. And for those of you who don't know what a Tifo is, it's basically a big flag that goes across the fans above their heads and over.
Oh,
Listen, it's
I
wonderful.
thought it's what you did the dishes with.
Don't take the piss.
I'm sorry.
Look,
so I just wish that's a tea towel.
Listen,
I thought they made fryers though. Tea towels. So I've just been told that's tea foul.
That's too foul. Too foul. Not too foul.
I can keep going.
New manager of England.
Yeah.
Look, each to their own. But I guess there's a thing about this with me. Look, and I hope it goes well, and I hope the fans get involved in all that sort of stuff. But what they're trying to do is engender the away fan sort of atmosphere. And you've been to enough away games, you know what it's like. The away fans, we're noisy. It doesn't matter whether we win, lose, or draw. We're normally pretty noisy. But when I go to away games, I get that buzz of being at the away game, and I get into the moment. And I don't need to be encouraged to sing, chant, shout, scream, swear, etc. I'll do it because I just get carried away with the atmosphere that the away fans generate. Home games are not like that, though, are they?
The problem with this discussion, it'd help if obviously someone from then could come on and explain it.
And we will get them on in due time. We will.
Perhaps we'll start the Ironworks Alliance organisation of like-minded fans that want to join together inside the stadium and not be ultras, not copy the ultras of Palace, not be like the Ashburton army, but congregate together, have a section. I mean, I don't know if they use the phrase singing section, but I get it in a way. Have a big group of people, 300-400 together, and start sings, and it can be infectious in certain stadiums in getting more chance. I mean, I can honestly say one of the first times at Palace with their ultras, got to be 10 years ago now. It, it definitely changed the dynamic of going to watch a game at Selhurst Park. I mean, Selhurst Park for me has always been quite an atmospheric stadium anyway, because of the tightness of the ground.
Yeah, it's tight. It's
to
like
the pitch
the
and the
closeness.
closeness. And the closeness to the fans together. Obviously, we can do to death. That's a separate argument about the stadium, the way our stadium's laid out, and everything else, and how that can nullify an atmosphere and everything else. Mainly, in my opinion, due to the large gaps between the upper tier and the lower tier, and the fact that you got a stadium within a stadium within a stadium. So that aside, so they want to congregate. That's fine. So that's good. Okay, if that's what they want to do, get yourselves together. Now they wanted help from the club to do that. I suppose in a way they would have to get help from the club to do that. I'm not sure the club were quite holding out their hand to help them in the beginning, but I suppose as they've grown in popularity, as they've garnished more support, I've never been. I'm always highly critical of what I perceive to be manufactured atmosphere.
Yeah.
So questioned them, pointed out holes in them, or whatever they felt. They probably felt I've attacked them. I actually applied to join because they welcome all fans. Now, they didn't me though. Okay. Not the first club, to be fair.
I know
the first fan group to have gone, well, we don't want, we'll take anyone, but not you. That's fine. That's up to them.
Did they give you a reason?
They did actually. To be fair, I've had conversations with them off and on. They were highly susceptible of my motives. And my reasoning was, well, let's see what you're about. But they didn't want me to see what they were about. That's fine. I'll stand on the outside then and see what you're about. So then we move on to I don't know if they had large success. I think they there was a cup game they tried to band together. I don't know if it was the Bournemouth game, was it? And get the singing going.
Yeah,
you could sort of see where they congregate, which is the Bobby Moore Billy Bond stand corner, the Bobby Moore lower Billy Bond stand corner.
Yeah.
So tempered success. I'm not going to say they didn't have no success. You could tell there was increased singing, but it's very difficult for a league game when you've got existing season ticket holders in those seats for them to en masse have that block. So now, obviously, they sort of congregate or have managed to congregate themselves. I don't know how much in that corner. They've now looked, and the one thing when they started said they don't, they're not going to dress up in black. They're not going to bang drums. They're not going to wave flags or be like that. But now they come up with, let's do a Tifo. So part of this could be borne out. This is part of we've just spent 3 years going around Europe, and there you get to experience the European football fans, and this is a big thing in Europe. I've
Yeah.
been to Germany, and I've seen it, in probably my favourite team in Germany is Osnabrück, and they're now Division 3 team. But the reason for that is the atmosphere in the ground was fantastic, and they had their behind one goal, terracing, organised. They did a tifo, and it was, you could see it brought the stadium to life. But that's fine. That's Germany. At the end of the day, we've never had that. It's not part of football culture. Certainly not when we were growing up and in our 20s and 30s. Definitely not. It was never so. And it's never been really in the Premier League. We've done it on odd occasions to commemorate Bobby Moore, as such, and not a problem with things like that. And I suppose the European games, we did it as a spectacle. Now they want to do so. I don't know. It's one thing is they've never answered this. Why they feel the need to do this tifo, right? The one thing they've never answered this question. Why do you feel the need to do it? So they want to do this tifo. They choose a game. They crowdfund it. They get the money, $3,000. Well done. That's a big effort to get $3,000, frankly, from West Ham fans, when it's a niche event, as I say, or organisation. Then they come up with, when you see the design for what they're doing, I can pick holes in that, because that's what I did the other night. So do you know what the tifo says still?
I don't. I've not seen it. No.
So the tifo is the stronger the furnace, the hotter the furnace, the stronger the iron.
All right.
Right. Now, does that tweak anything in your brain? Bearing in mind, these are these are nothing to do with the club. Yeah.
No, I get the old Ironworks. I get all that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, but where does that slogan come from?
That I don't know.
No, well, that was the advertising slogan for the third kit.
All right.
Remember the orange third kit?
Oh yeah.
The worst. Yeah. Which, Frank, I know we won a trophy in it, and I do.
The white and orange. Yeah.
So it was, when it was unveiled, it was generally perceived to be one of the worst West Ham kits ever produced.
Ever. And I remember saying, I hope we don't win the trophy in that kit.
Well, we did.
And we did.
And it almost took the worst kit and makes it iconic in a way now, because it will be forever associated with a trophy win. But that was the advertising slogan. So now the thing about it is where it comes in with Save Our Concessions, where there is a bit of a anomaly, is that we've been trying to get protests which are very successful away from them in the visual,
especially getting together with the other teams that we're playing. There's been a lot of joined up thinking there.
Inside that stadium, very difficult.
Yeah.
Now,
well, go on. I'm going to put up a comment that someone's just put. Actually, someone we both know quite well.
Yeah. So
because it links to this. So go on.
Well, it could be, because this is thing. I think you said sort of same thing that I said, is that we're struggling to get the balloons happening in the stadium in a big way. They've managed to pull this off. A big criticism of mine at the start of the season was, you're in conversations with the club. You shouldn't be doing that when we're trying to stop the club. So basically, I have opinion, which other organisations are aware of, that no engagement should be done by fan groups with the club until they reverse the concessions scrapping.
Or unless that's on the table to discuss.
Unless it's on the table, that should be the only thing to be discussed. Nothing else. Sort this out, acknowledge it, or as I think will happen, a deal will be done that both sides get to claim a moral victory.
A victory, yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be a fun. Now, without, I talk to a lot of people still, I know people. Without doubt, the protest has been scaled back, yeah, to not interfere with what is happening for them.
Okay, so that is a private, similar comment I made to the person I was chatting to tonight. Off, it wasn't on the Twitter,
No,
on the tweet. It was in a private chat, and that's what I suggested. And with respect to that person, he said to me, "No, that's not the case." And I don't know, because I don't know what conversations have been had between IWA and the club. But it does feel to me
let's
that
get this
it's
right.
a bit of a compromise.
IWA have to have help from the club, because they've got to have the ability to bring that in to the. Bearing in mind, it's quite funny. I talk from experience here. You try and get a flag in the ground without them allowing it. Yeah. If you want a flag in the ground, you have to give it to them and they have to hang it up. Now, I know from experience from Upton Park, if there's a flag with a slogan on it that they don't like, it won't be allowed.
Yeah.
So they've got to get into bed with the club. Whether they like it or not, whether they like the way that I dress it up or not, they have got to have got into bed with the club. And they run the risk now of having the club is on a big PR push. Yeah. If you look at the socials coming out of the club, a lot of it now is focusing on fans and fans that do good things. Yeah. You've seen it. You'll see it with the food bank, the work the club does with the food bank. Will be pushed, has been pushed to the fore as well. We'll get a lot of publicity. What it's done with other fan groups. You've seen it this week. They did a big thing with the great work that Neil Taylor does at Ammers for Work.
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
The club.
And fair play.
And listen, Neil deserves everything, all the plaudits he gets. But, let's not hide behind the fact that the club are pushing this, I believe, in response to hide the negativity of the save our concessions or whatever.
And I wouldn't knowing the way they operate, I wouldn't disagree with that.
No,
because it feels to me. Look, let me get it in perspective. Okay, we're not slagging off IWA. Okay, we're trying to get it in perspective. We're trying to get in perspective the impact it could have, especially on things like, well, not especially on, specifically on concession tickets, because I think you're absolutely right. I think it's quite possible we'll be compromised when you're trying to push. It's interesting that all the other initiatives, I mean, Neil Taylor has been going for years, Hammers for Work, and all of a sudden, and it's great, but all of a sudden they're acknowledging the work that he's done. IWA, as you've just alluded to, is now being given that kudos.
Listen, well, here's the thing, they're featured in the programme.
Yeah.
Now, the funny thing about it is, I don't know if you see it, something I wrote was in the programme recently.
Yes, you showed me that the other day, yeah.
Which it'd have been nice if the club had told me what they were doing, but still, they did acknowledge me, which is a break from tradition on their behalf, because they've used that article before and failed to acknowledge me.
Not that you hold any grudges.
No, I don't hold grudges. But you can see the fact that the Ironworks Alliance got put in the programme. And people go, "Are you just being cynical, Nigel?" Yeah, maybe I'm being cynical, but that comes from experience, the way that the media department of this club have operated under this ownership model firsthand.
Let me just recap for people who've come in late what we're talking about. So tomorrow at the Arsenal game, the IWA Ironworks Alliance are going to unfurl a Tifo in the Bobby Moore lower. They've also put you're going to have a little whatever it is, a poster flyer on your seat to sort of talk about, waving the scarves and all that. I ain't got a clue. I ain't got a problem. Not a clue. I don't have a clue usually. I ain't got a problem with that. I to try and engender a better atmosphere and all that sort of stuff. That's absolutely fine. It's not a problem at all. And the reason why this has come up is because I made a comment on a Twitter post and said that we should be focusing more on the save our concessions rather than this. I think concessions is much more important than the atmosphere. The reason why I commented on it was because maybe I'm a little bit old school, Nigel, and I don't need to be told when to cheer or when to sing or when to clap, because the way I look at it is when I go to a game, and we've been to games of football at the London Stadium where the atmosphere has been absolutely electric, Seville. And I think the first League Cup game against Chelsea when we beat them 2-1 and stuff like that, which was like right at the start of this the opening of the stadium. There have been games.
Spicy was a word we would
very
use.
Spicy because they were climbing over the sides, and I think you were closer to them than I was.
Well, there is a funny story. Is that when it started to get spicy, there was a bloke. I was in block 214, and there was a bloke who ran down the stairs in a tracksuit, obviously. And that was in the days when you could run all the way round the stadium, and we timed him, and we see him 10 minutes later appear. He'd gone down, run all the way around the concourse, the whole way round. Because obviously the West Ham fans could only get to the Chelsea fans from the Trevor Brooking lower, so we had to literally run the whole way around the concourse. But I mean, the funny thing about that game was that's what added, we beat Chelsea that night. Strangely enough, we won the game
2-1. Yeah.
And generally a lot of people felt that was the first game in that stadium where you think, look, I was on TV, it's on YouTube. Last game of Upton Park, I got asked about atmosphere. And I said, the problem is, I don't think it'll be great. It depends how the team does, because atmosphere is generated in response to what fans see on the pitch.
Well, exactly my point. If something's going on the pitch that excites me, I'll give you an example. By the way, people, I can see your comments and I'm starring some, so I will come back to them. So please don't think I'm ignoring them. But there are one or two I've starred, so we'll go back to them. I'll give you an example of how excitable I can get. The game against, I think it was Chelsea again. What was the goal that Masuaku scored from the side when it was a
Chelsea?
Another Chelsea game.
Yeah.
Now, when he scored that, I ran up and down the steps of the Bobby Moore lower, across and back again, because I went fucking mad because of that goal, which won us the game. So I can get excited, even at my old age. I still get excited at what goes on, but I've got to have something that excites me. I've got to have something that's going to get me going, shouting, screaming, swearing, cheering, singing, whatever, and like I said earlier on, I can get, I guess because, you've got 2,000-3,000 fans at away games, you're all there, you're all in that zone. It gets more difficult in a home game. So if I'm being encouraged to sing and chant or whatever, I'm not, unless something's going on the pitch, I'm not going to buy into it. Is that harsh? I don't know.
Still, we ain't got the same jump on, have we?
I'm sorry?
No. I thought
we don't have the same jump.
Oh, right.
No, close though. Quite smart for you.
Yeah. Didn't brush me in.
Look, I do not want to do this lot a disservice because I get what they're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
But and I'm going to go to the first comment that I've starred because it's relevant. It's from Dodsey. He said, the problem with atmosphere on the ground is that you have too many tourists who earn money for the club turning up, don't understand the singing history, etc. And also the wall has got a massive impact. Now, there's a link to this with concessions, because as we all know, the reason why they want to move concessions away and move concession holders to the upper tiers is because the tickets are more valuable on the lower lower terraces. So if they can start selling, I think you told me this, or might have been even Sean, but one of you did. If they can start selling those individual tickets at tourist prices, does it matter what atmosphere there's going to be? Because the more people are going to turn up, I don't want to call them tourists, because sometimes there are who don't support West Ham. They're going to a Premier League game. They're not going to see West Ham. They're going to see the team that West Ham are playing, the Chelseas and the Arsenals and the Man United and stuff like that.
Look,
and if you've got more of them in the stadium, the atmosphere is going to get worse, isn't it? So the more you push concession, this is why I think it's relevant. The more you push concessions out, the more you're going to replace those concession holders with people that are going to turn up on the day. They don't understand the history. They don't understand the singing culture. And the atmosphere is just going to get worse, isn't it?
Yeah.
Look, it's unlike Dodsey to have something poignant to say.
Well, yeah, it is. He was talking to himself on Twitter today, so at least he's talking to someone properly. The funny thing is, if you look at the IWBA and what they're trying to achieve, in a way, it's in response to the tourist trap that the stadiums become. In a way, it's trying to nullify that by congregating like-minded, which is not your day trippers, your tourists or whatever. And if you ever think, if you ever want to see the type of club that West Ham's become now, is when you enter the island from the bridge by where the shop is. If you stand there by the shop and just watch the people going in, view the people, listen to the people, look at the people, a lot of them going in there. If you're a West Ham fan going week in, week out, you are not going in that shop. But look at the amount of people going in the shop. That tells you there's a lot of people that are West Ham or the London Stadium. Premier League football has become an event that people want to attend, especially Arsenal. Because at the end of the day, we all know how it's become in the years. When the big clubs turned up, so do their fans from abroad.
Yeah,
that will, the fact that not Arsenal, obviously a fellow London club, so it's a lot easier. But their fans will come from all over the country. Probably easier to buy a ticket for the London Stadium than it is the Emirates. Probably cheaper. A lot easier. Probably cheaper as well.
Maybe so.
Right. So therefore, they can get tickets and they will turn up. We all know the stories about these fans. They walk in their Arsenal shirts and everything else. The club will happily sell them tickets, happily let them walk in. And then if there's trouble, throw them out. They're not bothered. They've got the money.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that is, the sad fact of where we are with that stadium. So in a way, the IWA is in response to that. Could be a good thing, but all this organised, and this is the thing, when something tries to be organised and fabricated, a lot of people, perhaps it's our age still, perhaps
maybe
it's our era.
Maybe it is. Yeah.
Let's see if this is something that the youngsters, even though the funny thing is, I think there's a couple of older people involved in it as well.
I genuinely don't know.
I think that there are. So it's a few things. There's pluses for them, as I say. In a way, they're a response to this, and they could be a benefit. The Tifo thing is a few questions. The problem is, you supply them with questions. Have they give you answers?
Well, fair play. I have given them questions. I know you gave me a few. I threw those in as
Yeah.
well, and they were only sent today. So
No.
I don't want to put them down for saying that they. I did invite them on, but fair enough. It was late in the day because I only did it earlier today. I have sent them questions. That was only earlier today. I'd like for them to reply to the questions. I'd like for them to come on. They're more than welcome to come on and talk about their aims, their ambitions, what it's about, etc. And you know me, I'm not going to I'm not going to get them on and then just slag them off and be dismissive, because
No.
I think their aim is a good it's a noble aim. Do I think it'll work? I'm
Well, look,
I'm not.
it's the other thing is, yeah, the one thing that never answered is that they come up with this TIFO and they want it across the. I mean, here's the funny thing is that the club tried it, didn't they, about 5 games ago, and it was frankly embarrassing. Yeah, they got a flag out, and it looked lost, didn't it? Supposedly passed around.
Well, if you remember
Now,
a couple of seasons ago, they in half time they had flags all around.
well, yeah, but that was in response to the protests and the real flags, and it was, flags of all the old badges, and it was a sop to, the fact that there was nothing inside the stadium that made it look West Ham. So it was a temporary fix to try and West Hamify the stadium, which it didn't look like a football stadium at the time. But did they consult with you whether you would like to partake in this? Did they consult with the general?
Well, I'm a Bobby Moore lower season ticket holder, and I can't honestly remember. I don't remember.
No. So what they've done is they've assumed that everyone on the Bobby Moore lower is going to be more than happy to take part in this.
Yeah, I'm not so sure.
And this is the problem where you think, so the club with the club are decided we're doing this. So it's imposed. And they're asking a lot. And, there's a curiosity factor to it now. And this is the thing, I don't want to sit here. I've told them before, I'm not the enemy, but I think there's questions that are entitled to be. And listen, time and time again, I invited them on the podcast. I said to them, anytime you want, come on more than just a podcast. We'll have a chat.
Well,
Months ago.
Adam's in the chat. He said, "I'll come on next time." To dispel me, Adam. You're more than welcome.
Well,
message
look,
me.
What I'll tell you is, I can't remember the bloke's name. One of them come and stood next to me recently, holding up my banner at the loyalty thing, and I had a chat with him, and I said to him, "I'm not the enemy, but I don't know. Well, listen, there's things here where you think, who are they then? So who are they still? We don't know who they are. Now, there are reasons why people don't want to be known. And I fully appreciate that, because social media, as we know, can be a bear pit. And there are people that can take it too far to an extreme and everything else. So
give me 1 second. Adam, if you message me on westhamvoice@gmail.com, I'll send you a link to come on now if you want to. westhamvoice@gmail.com. Sorry, go on, mate.
So I can understand why they don't want to be visible, why they don't want to put their face up, blimey, luckily I can let a lot of things wash over me, but I took a long time ago when I started campaigning against the move. I was shocked because I couldn't believe the amount of abuse I got.
Yeah, well, I remember at that time, there was this bloke who was against the move, and how I do remember a lot of people they didn't mock it, they were like quite dismissive of it. Yeah. You're not going with the times, you're not looking at the future.
Yeah.
You don't want the club to grow.
Yeah.
Because you just want to stay in little Upton Park. Look at what we're going to get, a 55,000 seater stadium, etc., etc. And we were sold that myth, weren't we? We were sold that vision of what it will be. And I remember going up and signing up for my season ticket and being shown where I was going to sit and look at the view you're going to have and all that. And boy, oh boy, was it different when we got there. And I remember, you know, hearing about this bloke Nigel, who was against the move, but people were not listening, I guess, to want of a better description.
You know, the old saying is you can take the horse to water, but you can't make it drink. You know, it's. I'm not saying that, but I'm just trying to say I can see why they don't want to be seen. I can see why they don't want to publicly, but also, yeah, is a thing. They support the concession protests, but at the same time have to be hand in hand with the club to do what they want to do. They have worked hard to get into a position where the club of doing this with the club. I personally think the change of tact from the club has come about because of the concession protests.
Yeah, I agree. They're feeling the pressure.
The club of, as I said at the beginning of the show, the club have stepped up on the social media, the fan engagement. Yeah, i.e. the videos they put out, the recognition of fan groups on what they do. They do it in the programs, on the Instagrams and everything else, on Twitter, on the website. You can see it, and it's a battle for hearts and minds. So,
yeah.
You know,
I don't know. I mean, look, I've just invited Adam on. I don't know if you've spoken to Adam before.
No, I don't think so. As I said, I know one of them come up and stood next to me at the last home game outside the ground, and I had a good chat with him. Nice bloke, probably late 20s.
Well, let's see what Adam says. I'm more than happy to hear you know, a different point of view, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah.
So when he comes on, we can go back to this later. So let's talk about very briefly last Monday night.
Well, here's a funny thing. Let's start then, right? No, because what we're talking about, and because it's one thing I brought up is, so here you had, it's an organisation, I don't know if you know, called War Flags, WORFLAGS, and they are the fan group that organise the Tifos at Newcastle United.
Right.
Do you know about these?
No, I don't.
No, right. So it's War Flags, like War Jackie. There's an old phrase because of Jackie Milburn. And they organise these Tifos. So they've done this Alexander Isaac, you know, Tifo, frankly, as a way of saying, you know we haven't got Champions League football, but we love you and please don't leave us.
Right.
They waved blue and yellow flags, had Alexander the Great. Obviously, the blue and yellow flags is because he's Swedish. So it was a loving.
It looked like an advert for IKEA.
Right. Well, you know, and this is the thing. So you're at the ground. You got a better idea than I have sitting on the telly. I'm guessing that did help generate an atmosphere for the game to start. What do you think? I don't know.
I think it got the buzz going. Yeah. But normally when in all the years I've gone to Newcastle, they've always got a good atmosphere there. They don't need encouraging. You know, they kind of do generate a was it any more than before than last season? I can't honestly tell you, and they've done a few.
I don't pay attention a lot to War Flags. I know of them, and I know they are this organisation.
I can give you an example of some of the away games I've been to abroad.
Yeah.
Like the atmosphere. I remember the atmosphere at the semi-final against Eintracht Frankfurt.
Yeah.
When we got in 2 hours before the game started, And my God, the noise.
Yeah.
My God, the atmosphere and the noise, because everybody was in unison. And I get that. Can we generate that sort of thing at an English club? I don't know.
You know, possibly, I don't know. But anyway, so this is the thing that they've done. But my point of view is that they were soon quiet enough, weren't they?
Extremely, because they weren't expecting what was going to happen.
You know, on 10 minutes in, they're 1-0 down, and you know, no famous. I mean, the funny thing is, I was, you know, I was up there. What was it? March, was it? It was Easter, wasn't it? When they beat us 4-3.
Yeah.
And when we were, you know, and up until the 75th minute or whatever, they said nothing. Their fan base.
No. Yeah.
So you can have all the tifos you like. I don't buy in to what they're saying because there's no evidence to back it up. Because on 77 minutes, half of them flag wavers seem to have gone home.
Yeah.
And my Sunderland mates took great delight on pointing it out.
It was, you know, the atmosphere. I'm trying to wrap my brain, because I got in. It takes 3 hours to walk up the bloody steps. I got in, and I was just buzzing from just finally getting up into my seat and ready to watch the game. And before you knew it, they scored a goal, which was thankfully, which was offside. But I can't then remember. All I then remember is us, how well we were playing. And you're absolutely right. The better we played, the quieter they went. And it was, and we made so much noise. And it was interesting because when I did a post-match video after the game, you know, everyone was mentioning how loud the West Ham fans were, you know, and they went completely quiet. So I don't know. But it was, what do you make? Did you even half expect that to happen on Monday night? Did you think we had it in us?
Well,
after what we've seen this season.
And the thing is, do I think yes? Because I've always the beauty of West Ham is to expect the unexpected. Yeah.
As you said before. Yeah.
I've said it often enough. That's part of the beauty of West Ham, is that we will do these type of things in the very moment we don't expect it to happen. Everybody's expecting Newcastle to trounce us 3-4-0 and Arsenal to trounce us 3-4-0.
Yeah.
And then Lopetegui to be sacked. That's what people were expecting.
That's what people were expecting, yeah.
Well, sorry to spoil the party, you know. Yes, you know, because the funny thing is, with Newcastle, if you look at Newcastle, it did very well, got Champions League football, can't continue that. Why? What is holding them back? Continue it. FFP. They can't continue it.
They can't get to the same levels. Adam, I have sent it, mate, you know, but I don't want to put it up on, with the greatest of respect to everyone. If I put it up on the system, then it's going to open it up to everyone. So I have sent you the emails, so do have a look for them. Sent it twice now, Adam. Sorry, mate. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, so I mean, did I think we would win 2-0? Of course not. You know, I thought, you know, we could get a draw here, but you
predicted
never know.
A 2-2.
I
predicted a 2-2.
You could nick it, and the funny thing is that after we went 1-0 up, they had the goal that was disallowed for offside.
Yeah,
which, you know, was offside.
It was offside. Yeah,
and then Isaacson put the one wide, where he was onside, and he was on the stretch, wasn't he?
He was on the stretch. I mean, you know, here's the irony, Nigel, because when I got home the next day on the train, I saw the Sky highlights, the 2-minute Sky highlights. It looked like they were all over us. You know, those 2-minute Sky highlights looked as if, I mean, and that's why when I did the post-match review, I put the stats up, because a lot of people maybe didn't see the whole game and sort of went, we were lucky again because if only Isaac had scored, had taken his chances. We had 6 shots on target. They had 2.
Yeah.
And only one of them, Fabianski, had to really pull off a good save.
Yeah. It's weird because this is the funny thing about when you review games and everything. I've always never been one when I used to do writing in Overland and Sea, I'd never write about games. And the reason for that is because 30,000 pairs of eyes had watched that game and we'd all have a different point of view on it. I listened to more than just a podcast this week, and Sean, who watched the game, thought we'd scored both goals against a run of play.
Oh, is he serious?
He was being.
Is he serious?
Yeah, and he was.
Tell you what, we controlled that game,
and
we controlled that game after their. You look like you're not going to agree with me, but bear with me.
No, I do agree with you. But the only thing I would say is we scored so early. Of course, it was against a run of play, but after we scored,
we were in control.
We were in control.
Yeah.
So I just, and it was funny listening to him talk about the game, and I'm thinking that is not how I watched the game.
Yeah.
It's not how I watched the game. And that's what made it such a great away performance. It wasn't a smash and grab, as I think Adrian Durham called it on TalkSport. We had more shots on target. I think we were only 1 or 2 shots behind them. Possession-wise, it was nearly 50-50. We dominated the second half.
Yeah.
We're expecting them to come out and really go for us, and it didn't happen. They brought Harvey Barnes on, who was the talisman substitute for them back in March.
You know how good we were because I didn't even notice that they brought him on.
And he done nothing.
I didn't even notice that they brought him on.
He turned the game from Easter. It's only 6 months ago.
Yeah.
And let's get this right. It's only 5-6 months ago since Arsenal tanked us 6-0 at home.
I know.
And here's the funny thing is, if we'd have lost to Newcastle and if we'd have lost to Arsenal, game for game against last season, Lopetegui would have still been 1 point in front. He's now 4 points in front, game for game. Yeah. So, it's a bit of a strange season because of the points differentiation. If you look, there's a bigger gap, I think, or the gap between Man City, I think, in second and Liverpool in first, and between Man City and us is exactly the same.
Well, yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. But what I do know is we're 4 points off a European place at the moment.
Yeah. Well,
that's the irony of it. We're now 6 points away from the relegation zone.
Yeah, we're 8 points.
4 points off.
Pretty
Europe.
sure
we're
8 points behind Man City.
We're 8 points from City in second.
Yeah, and City are 8 points behind Liverpool, who are top. Yeah. So if City are in the title race, we're in the race for the top 4.
Hang on, mate, because he's annoying me, so I've just got to comment on this.
Go on. Brighton a second hand. Did Brighton win? Perhaps Brighton did win. I know they were drawing. Let's have a look at what the league table is. Right.
Sorry, mate. I will now focus. I'm not going to look at that comment. I'm now going to focus on you. Brighton, I don't know what the result was.
No, Brighton drew. So Brighton drew, but they're still, So Brighton are 8 points above us. Brighton have gone second, but City have got a game in hand, which is against Liverpool, funny enough.
Okay. I mean, it's interesting what Darren's saying here, because I obviously I didn't listen to the post-match commentary, the post-match review on Sky, etc. But did they say that it was more about Newcastle not playing well, or did they actually give West Ham any credit for that result?
The thing about, I don't generally, I just watch the game now. And the reason for that is because we all know is that if you switch on a West Ham game that's live on telly, for the half hour or an hour build up, they're talking about the top 5, the top 6. Yeah, they're generally talking, and they'll talk about probably Newcastle. They'll throw us a bone and give us 5 minutes.
But do you remember when we were sort of like in the top 6 a couple of seasons back, and they were only talking about the top 5?
Mm.
Do you remember?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Do I imagine this, or do we sort of get completely ignored as if like we
No,
don't
no,
matter,
yeah,
we're
but
not going to fight, you know?
you know, this is the way of the media world, isn't it? You know, West Ham beat Newcastle. What's the big talking point? Well, Tuesday was Champions League.
Right.
So you switched on the radio Tuesday morning. They're talking about Man City's meltdown, you know, and then that's what they do. But that's the listening base, isn't it? I don't know. What you got to remember is we're just a small cog in that Premier League wheel, and that is what we are. I had discussion the other week about, are we a big club or not? And I don't think we are a big club. And people think I talk the club down. People think I've got a lack of ambition and everything else. And I say, no, I just understand the position that this club is in.
Mm-hmm.
And do I want us
people, when we talked about this the other week when we were on, people were saying that's being negative and that you don't, you don't have any faith in the club, etc. You don't want them to grow and so on.
Yeah.
You know, but so that's not the case, is it?
No, I go to every game hoping West Ham win. And if they met that achievement, we'd be the best club in the world, wouldn't we?
Well, we would, yeah.
I mean, all right, look, there is a part of me that clings to the West Ham of old, obviously. That's why I focus on the history a lot. West Ham to me is a symbolism of where I was born and brought up. West Ham as a club was formed in West Ham. So, and I know it was 125 years ago, but it was set up in West Ham to be the club of West Ham, an area of London, and the close environs. Yeah, I think the people that formed the club in 1900 would be staggered that there are people all around the world that are flying in and are actual supporters of this club. It amazes me now that the friends, and when I say friends, I actually mean friends that I've met, socialised with, spent time with, that come from all around the world.
But because I think you grew up thinking that only fans in the area would ever support a club like West Ham.
Look, and this is the thing, yeah, because I grew up pretty close to the ground. Yeah, so the ground's always there. Yeah, you could see the floodlights from you'd walk up the road onto the Barking Road, and you could see the floodlights from the Green Gate area. So the thing about it is, yes, I was brought up in the area. I actually worked on the Barking Road. I had after school job on the Barking Road. My first apprenticeship was in a security shop on the Barking Road. That area, the reason why I actually took that apprenticeship was because I could work a Saturday and still make football. Because the first bloke I worked for made me work a Saturday. I missed the game away to Orient. I still remember the game. And I walked in the Monday and quit the job. Yeah. so that, you can make me work 12, 14 hours a day, mate. I don't care. You make me miss football on a Saturday, I don't want to work for you. Yeah.
And that's comment here is, am I right in saying that Nigel doesn't get that disappointed when we lose a game? He's just there to support them, whatever happens.
Yeah. But listen, swear and curse and whatever. Do you know, I used to be like that when I was younger. I used to go home from the ground and, don't talk to me. She could tell. And then you think, and my wife says to me, I don't get what your problem is. They lose every week, you still go. So the result,
I get that from
so the result actually is secondary, isn't it?
Well, it is and it isn't it? I mean, I get when we lose, I'm pissed off for about 5 days of the week. You know,
Really?
it takes me at least 4 or 5 days to get over it.
Yeah,
I brood.
Yeah,
you know,
people are different. Me, I just go, oh well, there's always next game, isn't there?
Well, yeah, exactly. That's what you look forward to. There's always the next game. Exactly.
That's it. Is always the next game.
Yeah. So, given that now that Lopetegui saved and there's no more talk about him being sacked, and I mean, I read another article today that apparently now it's the next 3 games that he needs to save his skin on. We're going to go through this throughout the whole season, aren't we? We've been here before with Moyes. You know, he's won a game, he'll limp through to the next game. He's drawn that game, he'll limp through to the next game. I think what has been made relatively clear by those who kind of know is they're giving him until the end of December to see where we're at. You know, we've got, after the Arsenal game, we've got a number of winnable games. Well, there's no such thing as a winnable game in the Premier League, because that's the beauty of the Premier League. You know, a team down at the bottom can end up beating the team at the top. You know, that's because that's the way it is. So I think he's got until at the end of this year, calendar year, to actually demonstrate that he can actually do the business, so to speak.
Well, look, it's a thing that the things I'm party to. The word that I see that jumps out is what should change when there was pressure was results. That is what the people that make decision are looking at. Results. Results need to change. But, you know, he's took 7 out of 9 at home in the last 3 games.
Which is not a bad record.
And this was where, you know, where I look at the people that were, you know, there was a lot of people, Lopetegui out. Again, it was probably a 50-50 split in the fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a lot, and you look at him and go, he's took 7 points out of 9. And then Orde goes, oh, yeah, but look at who we got the points against.
Well, it's not just look who we got the points against, but it's like we were.
What
I've been hearing all season is, if the other teams have scored their chances, well, if we'd scored our chances, you know, who's to say that it's just because, you know, and I get the whole thing about, you know, the Man United game when we won that, it was the dodgiest of penalties. But how many times have we had the dodgiest of penalties, you know, against us? You know, so, and a game is not won in 5 minutes, 10 minutes. It's won over a whole game, a whole 90 minutes, you know, and if teams aren't pulling off their chances, that's not our problem. You know, if teams are not, you know, actually scoring their chances, that's not our problem. Right. Adam is on. So shall we bring him on and have a little chat?
Yeah.
Hello, Adam. How are you?
We're finally on, so I can prove to everyone I'm not being a shithouse and trying to avoid a link.
Well, I can also prove to a lot of people that I have sent you the link, which I did several times. So, you're welcome, by the way. You're welcome.
Thank you. And Delius, I appreciate admitting about earlier our little spat. I appreciate.
That with you?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
Right. So let's dispel a few myths straight away. This whole manufactured rubbish, at the end of the day, that stadium is terrible for atmosphere. I think we can all agree on that. Whether it comes down to acoustics, whether it comes to people being spread out, people not being congregated in the same area, whatever. You can make excuses after excuses. But at the end of the day, if someone's not going to be willing to actually get some of these people together, the atmosphere is not going to improve. That, as you said earlier, the ground is full of tourists most days. And at the end of the day, you've got people spread out who do want to sing. You do get pockets of people who want to sing, granted. Yeah, fair enough. But at the same time, I just realised, by the way, I've got 16%. If I get cut off, I'm not being terrible on my battery. Right. So just to be clear, we're not trying to be ultras. Even though, this is going to be funny, actually. We're not trying to dress all in black, even though I've got a black jumper on. So I just want to be clear. We're not trying to be ultras. We're not trying to dress all in black. We don't want bloody megaphone. We don't want to be Palace. Like, this is just a lazy stereotype, Nigel. And I know you said
hold up. I think that's exactly what I said. If you go back and listen to what I said, that is exactly what I said. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be this, and that's what you've always said.
Yeah, but okay. I'll go. I'll take that partially. I'll just say that it's been, let's we say, it's a common myth from people that we want to be those people. It's just a group of West Ham fans who are just normal fans who've been going for years and years and years. It's not a load of 18-year-old kids. I mean, I'd love to be 18 again, but yeah, at the end of the day, it's just normal fans who just want to get together like we do at away games and stuff like that and just sing together. It's simple as that. It's no, the Tifos, obviously, that's probably the only thing you could link to the European things and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, as you can see, we raised £3,000, so people do want to see it, whether you like it or not. And it's quite simply, as you were saying earlier, no one's being forced to do anything. We say, go on.
I get you, and I hear all that, and I think for me, there's maybe a different way of doing this, because you just hit on something that should have happened at the time we were moving to the new stadium.
Oh, exactly.
Now,
yeah.
there's always talk about having family areas. There's always talk about having the fans standing where they used to stand and all that sort of stuff. And one of the things that messed up when we moved to the new stadium was you found, I mean, for the first season, I was away from my mates because I was in another part of the stadium, and I thankfully managed to get over to where they are from the second season onwards. But what we could do, to encourage this is to actually, what the club have been doing is they don't care about, I don't think they really do give a damn about the atmosphere. I think some people have said it in the chat. What they care about is if they're getting that, it doesn't matter whether they're singing or no singing. Now, what can be done if there's a push to do something is encourage the club to say, we want to have like the Chavs Corner. We want to have an area, whether it be the Bobby Moore Lower, etc. And those who want to be part of that, encourage them to move, get the club to allow them to move into that part of the stadium, because that way you will get the hardcore fans who are going to want to be there to sing and chant and stuff like that. Because I'm in the Bobby Moore Lower.
That's what I mean. This is one of the things that I think has been a myth that seems to be peddled. That we're actually exactly on the same page there. We are literally trying to do exactly what you just suggested. We're in touch with the club, and let me be clear, Nigel, before you twist this, we are in touch with the supporters liaison. We haven't spoken to the board at any stage at all. We haven't spoken to Brady. We haven't spoken to Sullivan. We haven't spoken to anyone senior. All we've spoken to is just the supporters liaison and the health and safety for the new stadium. That is all the people we've spoken to. We haven't spoken to anyone senior. So all this about getting into bed with a club and all that is just rubbish. It's not true. All we spoke to is the supporter liaison.
Now, so you can say, have I said that you've got into bed with Brady?
Yes, you said it earlier. You said you said
did I? No.
I'll quote it. You said it. Getting into bed with a club. That's exactly what you said.
Right. So do you not, right? So do you not think that when the fact that you have to do this in conjunction with the club, because believe it or not, when those people that work for the club, they are the club, that is getting into bed with the club. Now, you may say, oh, when he says getting into the club, he thinks we're getting into bed with Brady, Sullivan. No, I mean, you're getting into bed with the club.
It's not a choice.
Department.
It's not a choice.
Well,
you want to get
you do have a choice. You do have a choice.
That's rubbish, Nigel. At the end of the day, we've got to get approval for anything we want to do. If it's our design or whatever, we've got to get the stadium health and safety to approve it. We've had to go through so much politics and bullshit to actually get through to this Tifo. Trust me, if I could avoid speaking to the club for late meetings or whatever after I've done with work and stuff like that, I would. But the fact of the matter is, we have to speak to the club. It's not a fact of the matter of making a choice to get into bed. If we want to do anything, we have to talk to them. Simple as that. It's not a choice.
No, we are forced to. A choice. I don't know. When I say you got a choice, is as I pointed out. I don't know if who runs the IWA Twitter account or whatever.
Yeah, that'd be the Will.
Well, whatever. Yeah, I don't know. It was who I spoke to. Yeah, as I said at the start of the season, I called out Hammers United. I called out the West Ham Supporters Club. I called yous all out. Nobody should deal with the club, and I know yous have worked hard. Yeah, but in this is a battle. The reason why the fans won the bond scheme was because all the fans stuck
I
together.
get your
They took
argument
the
on this
club on
case, but
and everything. Yeah. Now, hold up. Yeah.
okay,
Listen,
go on.
you may not see it this way. Yeah, but there is an obvious case of manipulation. You don't think you're being manipulated, but the club are now going out and pushing the fans to the fore, where in the past, ignore. Why is that now? Because there's negative about the concessions and the fans up in rise. So what they will do is they will put you people in the program. Yeah,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you're a good thing. Yeah, you're a good
I get
thing,
what you're trying to argue, but at the
and
same
you don't
time,
see.
we didn't ask to get put in there or
No,
anything
I'm not
like that.
saying
We're
you
not
did.
trying to be their vessel or anything like that.
No, but this is what I'm saying. This is how they're using you. You don't see it. This is part and parcel of what you want to achieve. All you
I
see is
see
an
what you're
end
trying
goal.
to argue, but
What
at the
you
same
to
time,
achieve, mate. I've
at the
been.
same
What you
time, we're trying
remember
to
is,
do it as an organic method.
yeah. What? I'm not. I tell you what. I'm not being funny. A tifo is not organic. It's
That
not
is probably
organic.
the only thing that is so far that we've tried to do that hasn't been organic.
Yeah.
We've had meetups at, say, the Carpenters. We've encouraged people last season when it was the European Games. We encouraged when the ground was half empty. We encouraged people to
Yeah.
come over to our little corner and join us,
Yeah.
just like it was Upton Park or like Chav Corner,
Not a
etc. Stuff
problem.
like that. The chicken
Not
run.
a problem.
That's exactly what we tried to do.
Not a problem.
It
If
hasn't
you
been.
go back, I've had this before, and where I had to get an apology out of them. I said, go back and read what I said, and they've gone back and gone, no, actually, make you right. Where I've gone, no, you done well there. You done well there. At the end of the day,
Yeah, but let's be honest,
you say
Nigel.
it ain't manufactured.
It's been one compliment. And I said to you, I appreciated your words on that. It's been one comment or one compliment, but it's been a lot of sly things in the background. It's like the whole ultra thing keeps getting repeated. I
If
notice,
I refer,
and
where have I,
or it
right?
keeps getting heavily inferred. Put it that way.
Oh, so I don't
Yeah,
say
but that
it,
doesn't
I
mean that's
infer it.
Nigel saying that. You know, I'm so grateful I don't do Twitter every day, because I almost said Tinder for a minute. I'm so grateful I don't do
No, you
Twitter
do
every
that,
day,
don't
because
you?
I think I go absolutely nuts. You know, but whenever I look at it, it seems that the fan bases look. And I apologise for the way I behaved on Twitter earlier on, because
Yeah, no,
other
so do
people
I. But at the end of the day, we're passionate, aren't we? We're West Ham fans.
passionate, but when other people get involved and they, you know, because where I was coming from was from a perspective of, I understand what you're trying to do, I get what you're trying to do, and I appreciate what you're trying to do, but there's a much more important issue at this moment, and I get why you don't
Can
want to
I
mix the
address
two.
this?
I get why you don't want to mix the two, but I get also Nigel's point. I get Nigel's point, because when you're dealing with a club, that's when they start, even if you're not speaking directly to Brady, that's when they start to have a little bit of control over you. And then if you want to push the agenda of concessions, they're going to go, well, but hang on a minute, we're helping you out with this. You want to carry on with that, don't you?
You could see it that way.
It's exactly what's happened with the supporters club. They're in that bind now, you know, and the supporters club has found themselves because they were promoted by, well, not promoted. They were let's say the club helped them, you know, to get back on their feet. They facilitated. And now the supporters club will never say anything, will never want to do things like concessions against the club, because they're now emboldened to the club. And that's what I think that's what Nigel, and that's what I kind of alluded to. I don't have a problem with what you guys are doing. Totally get it. Totally get it. But there may be different ways of going about it.
I can see your argument, right? I can see what you're trying to say. But at the end of the day, these are two completely different issues, in my opinion. And I get what you're trying to say in arguing, like, if you ignore the club, then obviously something might happen. But that's placing a lot of trust into Brady and to Sullivan, that they would actually do something about it and actually not ignore the fans like they have done so far. And quite frankly, Stelios, as you've seen, the guy who runs the Save Concessions account has done a lot of work in the background, and I won't say exactly to reveal his identity, but you know full well, Stelios, that he's done an important role.
Absolutely.
And quite frankly, our
Absolutely.
members have tried to back this campaign. It's really not one or the other. Can we just make that really clear? Because it seems like a lot of fans seem to are pegging us with this issue, like we're getting in the way of the concession argument when we've tried to support it in the
No, mate.
background.
No, that's not what we've said. We're not
No,
saying
not you
you're
in
getting
particular. It's just it's starting to go round the fan base that we're getting in the way of it. When we're actually, the truth is,
no,
we're
that's
trying
not
to
what
actually
people are
back it.
saying. Don't misunderstand. It's not what people are saying. People aren't saying you're getting in the way of it, but it could become a hindrance for you, because if you succeed with what you're doing, and then you turn around to the club in a year's time, 2 seasons time, whatever it may be, and go, now we're going to fight on the concession side, they're going to go to you.
We've
Hang on a minute, mate.
we've already done a post on this though. That's what I'm saying. We've made it clear that Ironworks Alliance as a group, we oppose the concessions. We've already made it public.
Pierino's got a perfect point here. The club love it when we're not on the same page. They adore it when we have these kinds of because it's divide and rule. Brady is the best at divide and rule. She's been doing it for years. Nigel used to be on the supporters group, or whatever you used to call it, one of the very first ones. And he knows from the inside how they facilitate things. And
oh no, I fully agree.
spot
It's
on.
so much politics behind the scenes. It's a joke. Just to simply get tickets together as part of a group. We know that.
And this is the thing. It's a tough ask for you. And as I said, the thing, in a way, I feel for the position that you've got yourself into, because because when you start, the club don't want to know you. Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you this now, yeah. When you started as a group, the club didn't want to know you, don't care about you, yeah. Then you build momentum, everything happens, and then they start to take you seriously. But they're not going to facilitate you in organising a block. The reason for that is it's very difficult in moving people that don't want to move.
Oh no, we know that. We're trying.
Right? So no, this is what I'm saying. I can tell you what you've gone through, and I've not gone through it with you, but I can tell you what you've been through. So you got that position. Now, one thing is, as you say, you want to do the Tifo. You don't want to be like Palace. I'll tell you what the Palace fans will do. They would take a banner into the ground that would say "Stop exploiting loyalty." I'm telling you now, you know it ain't going to happen. You lot won't. So when you say individually, yeah, people may be supporting the concessions, yeah, but as a group in the ground, you are not. And I don't care what you people say. If you don't think having your Tifo would has had any effect or anything on a Blackburn protest happening at the same time, then yous are deluded. Because I tell you now,
Sorry,
your
Nigel, but that's
Tifos,
complete rubbish.
yeah. Well,
how many black balloon processes? How many black balloon protests have we had so far this season? We're not stopping or doing anything from letting these protests happen.
No,
both
the
can
club's
happen.
stopping that. The club's stopping that. The club is stopping
Exactly.
that.
That's what I mean. Like, it's being inferred here quite heavily that we're blocking it.
That's
again.
right. No,
But
I'm not saying
not.
hold up.
That is just not
you're
true.
blocking it. I'm not saying you're blocking it. What I'm saying is let's face it, if Amazon United turned around and said to everyone, Bobby Moore lower, we want to fill it with black balloons, yeah, what's going to happen? Tifo or black balloons?
On your bike.
Yeah, what's going to happen?
Could have happened all season though.
I don't know. But the Amazon United are not going to say that, and I know why. Members of IWA know why, and I do know why because I've been told. So that's why, if I will argue,
well, in my opinion, there's apathy with a lot of the fans. Simple as that.
Definitely. Listen, I can tell you about apathy till the cows come home. Yeah, the reason why we sit in a stadium like that is actually down to apathy from 15 years ago.
Well, I mean, we can argue this all day long, but we're on the same page about this. This is the problem. Like, this is what frustrates me and other members of the group. Is we are actually on the same page as a lot of these protests about supporting it, and we have done in the background. This is why I wanted to come on to dispel this myth. We're not trying to block it. Or what? I know you saying you're not. You're saying that we're not trying to block it. You admit it. Go on.
Yeah. I'm not saying you're trying to block it. What I'm saying is, by the fact you're doing what you do, inadvertently does play into that.
don't misunderstand.
And you cannot
that,
deny
mate.
that.
You know, yeah, I
cannot
get
deny
that point. Don't misunderstand that. No one has suggested that IWA has gone out of their way to block the concessions thing. No one has said that at all. But it's in, as Nigel just said, it's inadvertently happening because you're having to collaborate with the club, etc. You're doing it through you're not doing it with Brady or whatever, but you're doing it with members. You're doing it with representatives of the club who are representing the owners, Brady and so on. And by that, they kind of then have you a little bit round there. You know, they've done this with when Hammers United. I had a similar chat with Hammers United a few years ago. You know, and I said to them, "Why are you not bringing all the different factions together? You know, Pride of Irons and etc. Any old iron and all that. Have them all under your umbrella. You're going to be stronger in that way." You know, rather than go, because it's easy pickings for Brady. She'll go, right, I'll take them. I'll give them a little bit of what they want. Now we've got them in our pocket. I'll take them. We'll give them a little bit of what they want. Now they're in our pocket.
I fully agree with that point. I agree. Everyone will be strong enough together. But at the same time, I just want to try to make it clear we're not in anyone's pocket. Like, we might be in your minds. In your minds, we might be. But I would say we're not. Because we've got, as I said earlier, we don't have a choice. We have to talk to the club if we want to do anything. So we don't have a choice. But as I said before, if we could, we wouldn't talk to them at all, and we just do our own thing. But then again, we wouldn't get approval. We wouldn't be allowed to do things. We just don't have a choice. As simple as that.
The club will vet. So did the club vet your tifo?
What, the design of it?
Yeah.
No.
They didn't vet it.
No, they basically we done several designs that we liked that we discussed within the group. It was decided which one was liked the most through a poll of what I think is about 200 odd people in that chat now or wherever. And I wanted to address a point earlier about where fans told about this, and this whole myth about fans weren't consulted or anything like that is absolute rubbish. We sent a big survey out to, I think it was over 1,000 fans, and we got heavy responses saying that we want a group to try and help with the atmosphere. I think it was don't quote me on the exact stats, I'd have to go out and dig it, but I think it was about 80 to 85% from memory. That might be wrong, I'd have to double check it. Said that they want someone to come in and do something about the atmosphere. So that we've gone with that and used it as a basis to work off. We've not gone into this like basically just saying, oh, we're just going to go and do something. We've actually spoken to people and said, like, well, would you want us to try and do something? And a lot of people come back to us in the survey and said, yes, we would actually like someone to try and do something because nothing's happening.
I'll now answer that because this is what I've said. Stelios, you sit on the Bobby Moore lower. Yeah? Has anyone come to you as a Bobby Moore lower sitter? Bearing in mind, it's the Bobby Moore lower they want to do it all on.
Yeah, and said honestly, to you, mate,
this is what we want to do and whatever.
You know, I don't know who you targeted, so
you can talk to 1,000 fans.
We put it out on our Twitter account, and I can't remember the exact numbers of retweets we've got.
Listen,
no. It got retweeted a lot of times. So, like, I'd be very surprised if people hadn't at least seen it. I think the impressions on that were at least. I think it was 80,000 on my from my impressions.
Point out, yeah, Twitter fans are not the people in the ground. It's
the people of course not. I'm not saying that.
The Bobby Moore lower. They are the ones directly. You need his and his friends and others. A lot of people in the Bobby Moore lower that I know are saying, not sure about this. No one's ever come to me and asked me.
Yeah, this is in all honesty, Adam, you know, and it's not putting
You've gone about it, in my opinion. Yeah,
I've
gone about it the wrong way.
All my mates are in the Bobby Moore lower, and not many of us have heard of it, and that's the honest truth, mate. You know, because we're not, you know, I'm not active on Twitter. I go on Twitter every now and again, get pissed off with it, and don't go on there for another month. You know, and
I'm not trying to say Twitter fans are the be all and end all. Of course,
no, but hang on, you've just turned around and said you've gone out on Twitter and everything. It ain't the people.
We've tried to survey people. That's my point.
Hold up, the people on Twitter are not the people holding your banner up. It's the people on the Bobby Moore lower, and it is them. How you'd have done it, I don't know. Give out leaflets on the Bobby Moore lower. Engage with the people on the Bobby Moore lower. You
which
haven't
we
done
did
that.
do in the European games last season. Right, not give out leaflets, but we spoke to people when we were trying to congregate together and said like, "Oh, would you?" We had people coming over to us. We can produce videos of this actually. When we was having a sing song in the concourse, people started coming over to us and saying like, "Oh, who are you boys then? I see your flag." And we actually had people coming over and asking us about this, and they said, "Oh, are you going to be doing this regularly?" And yeah, the reaction we had was actually quite positive. And I don't know if obviously they were regulars within the probably more lower or whatever, but in person, we actually got a lot of positive people actually coming up to us and asking about who we are. Is it going to be regular? Yeah, so at the end of the day, I fully agree with your point. It's not Twitter fans are not the same as real life. I get that, but at the same time, we've tried to get a survey out, and we tried to get it sent out as many times within group chats, within just in case people aren't on Twitter. We've asked people to put it on Facebook. We've asked people to send it out to their WhatsApp groups as well, just to make sure that everyone's had an opportunity to try and see this. To try, that's my key point. I'm not saying we surveyed everyone. We've tried to get it out there, and hopefully after Saturday, when people have seen this Tifo, people are actually going to ask, "Oh, who is this lot? Why did they do this and all
Okay.
that?" And that will help us get recognition from the fan base.
That's
That is
fair.
one of the main reasons behind the Tifo.
So what are the plans then after Saturday? What's the plan going forward? What do you want to do? What you're going to do next from this?
Well, it depends
what's the
entirely.
thinking?
Sorry, no, as I say, it comes down to politics again with the club. We'll see what happens, but with the long-term aim, what we would like to do is have something like similar to how it is on away games, where you've got all the fans who do actually want to sing in a group together. And no one's stupid enough to believe that this can happen in 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. We know this is going to be a long uphill battle. Simple as that. We know full well that they're trying to get safe standing into the Bobby Moore lower for a start. And that's being blocked by the LLDC health and safety team.
Yeah.
For God
Do you know
knows
why
whatever
that is?
reasons
Do you
why.
know why that is? Do you know why that is?
Health and sorry, go on.
Do you know why that is?
Go on.
Well, it's a simple reason. One, we don't own
Well,
the
I know
stadium.
it's
Two, hold up, you
they're
ready?
blaming it on
Two,
toilets and health and
no.
safety.
No. No, toilets got nothing to do. Safe standing. Two, safe standing is no good for athletics crowd. It don't fit in with a multi-use stadium. That's a multi-use stadium. The rail standing, as safe standing is, yeah, it's predominantly
I'll counter you on
football.
that. The flat stand that is in there now behind the goals, it is built so it can accommodate it. That's a fact.
Yeah, and he's actually right.
Yes,
You know, because
but
I remember
yeah,
about
the stadium
whenever
owners, yeah, there's a difference. Yeah, it's built, yeah, but the stadium owners are going to
won't
block
allow it.
it as much
Yeah.
as they can because it don't fit in with the model of stadium that they want to run.
I know
Because you're
exactly.
absolutely right, Adam.
This is why.
Those seats were built in, and we were told, I think it was Mr. Whetstone that said about 3 odd years ago that it was designed, it was prepared, ready for standing, but will never be allowed to officially stand there.
But that's what I'm saying. This is part of our longer term plan. Obviously, the stadium is now going through in the background with the politics. I'm not exactly sure who owns it for whatever year, you might know. But as far as we're aware, that it's going to leave public ownership soon, possibly. This is why we're hoping maybe in the long run that the club will get bought. Who knows? But we're hoping that maybe eventually the club will own that stadium and we will be able to try
That
and
won't
revamp it
happen.
a bit. That's what we
We
hope.
might run it, but we'll never own it. The club don't want to own it.
Yeah,
They've never
that's
wanted
what I
to
mean.
own the
We
club.
don't know, but we're
Yeah.
hoping for it. That's what I'm trying to say. We're
Yeah.
just trying to hope to get fans together, like the away fans do on away games, and just sing together whether they want to get involved or not. If you want to stand in silence, great. That's up to you. But
Yeah.
if you want to have a sing, great. Come and join us. Have a laugh. Have a sing. We can have a laugh about how shit we're doing. You can we can either hopefully
We do that a
celebrate
lot.
some goals. But this is West Ham, isn't it?
Yeah. Look, Adam, I really appreciate you coming on. You know,
My phone's going to die
I hope
anyway,
you
mate.
haven't found it too, I hope you hadn't found it too difficult. I don't think we've given you, we've given you a chance to speak, and I'll gladly have you back on again you know,
No,
in a few
no,
weeks'
I'd like to
time.
come back on when I've got more battery, to be honest. I mean, I haven't been able to see any of the chats that's been coming in, so I haven't been able to
Yeah.
address
There's
any
loads, and
questions.
you know, I would try and give a précis of what people have said.
I wouldn't pay attention much to the chat.
I've been looking at it. That's why I keep looking over. But no, but you are welcome to come back on. Let's see how tomorrow goes. You know, and I wish, you know, I'll be there. I wish you all the luck with it. You know, and then we can talk about how it went in a couple of weeks' time and what the plans are moving forward. But you know, and I'd definitely like to offer some of, you know, my thoughts, you know, as to how you might be able to take it forward, you know, how you get fans in there, you know, rather than we're all split at the moment. So you can hear pockets of fans around the stadium wanting to sing, but because there's not enough fans singing, they shut up, you know, so there's got to be a way.
Exactly. We just want to bring them all together.
Well, this is exactly it. I was going to say, you know, and this is where you will start to get into heavy conversations with the club. When you turn around and go, we want a proper singing area, which means encouraging fans to move from where they are, if they want to come to the Bobby Moore lower, they're going to start giving you a lot of shit as to why it can't happen. You know, but that's when
we've already taken a lot already. We're fully prepared for more to come our way. In my opinion,
that means having difficult conversations with the club, which they won't like. You know, so...
no. You'd actually be surprised, given the and obviously you're going to take this the wrong way. I think the conversations that we've had with the club, I do actually believe they do care about the atmosphere, and I think that they do care because I believe it actually gives in the long run, their tourists is not as attractive for them in that part of it, because they're actually becoming more receptive. Now, don't take this the wrong way, because before Kat came in, the new supporters liaison, it wasn't as productive. Now, she is actually making things happen behind the scenes. It's not just a case of, oh, you've got a bit of momentum and all stuff like that. We are actually having conversations with Kat, with Sullivan Jr. Years ago. This is years ago before. Go on, Nigel. Go on, get it off your chest.
No, Kat Smith, the woman that is the fan engagement officer that don't want to engage with the social media fans.
Is she the
I've got an email, and I've got an email that says that. So, excuse my cynicism, yeah, but here's a woman whose job is to engage with fans. She's invited onto a podcast. Let's frankly, most podcasts don't really want to discuss about the stuff that she does. There is one that will do. She's been invited on, and she won't come on. So, therefore,
I'll try and defend her slightly on that case. I don't think any of the club employees are allowed to do that, are they?
Of course they are. She's the fan engagement officer, mate.
Yeah.
If the fan engagement,
I'm not sure if the official club officials are actually allowed to go onto these fan things unless it's pre-approved. That's what I'm trying to say.
Play with me then. How does the fan engagement officer engage with fans?
Emails, Twitter, social media.
Fucking hell! Come on. Dear,
what?
Oh dear.
Is she not engaging with fans or not?
Well, I mean, to actually go on a podcast would actually be quite a good way for her to get her message across to quite a large number of fans. You know, I don't rely on social media, the irony of it, because I'm doing a social media show, but I don't rely on social media to find out my information about West Ham. You know, that's not the only area that especially.
But what I'm trying to imply here is that she might be being blocked from doing so by the club.
Mate.
Yeah, but as an example, support services go on Twitter to tell us
then
about
that shows you all. Then that tells
and I
you
don't know anything about it until I actually go on my account to look for when the next, you know, when they're selling tickets for the next away game and stuff like that. So not everybody is beholden to social media. You know,
no, of course not. I'm not trying to say that.
Right.
I'm trying to get the point across that she does try and engage, but I believe, in my opinion, that she's being blocked in certain cases from engaging with the fans.
If she's being blocked by the club to engage with fans,
just in my opinion,
so then what does that tell you about the club?
Well, obviously they're trying to keep a strict control on communication. Simple as that.
There you go.
So therefore,
You've answered that.
I'm not being funny, but you'd be stupid to think otherwise, no?
Oh, right. So therefore, now you see why.
So we're on the same page, no?
Without you realising it, you are being manipulated.
No, we're not.
Okay. let's leave it there.
I'll leave that for the other.
My phone's going to die anyway. It's literally on 5%.
I'll leave that to the other people.
Seriously, I do. I do wish you the best with it.
Conversations like this have to take place.
I do, and I, and I appreciate you coming on. Let's talk in a couple of weeks' time when what happens tomorrow. Let's see how that goes. I really hope it does. It's the effect that we want to see. Let's see. But I will invite you back on again, Adam.
Okay.
Definitely.
Yeah,
all right,
I've got more battery. We'll have another little discussion.
Cool. Thank you for coming on.
Fellas.
Cheers. Right. People, I know maybe some of you come on late and going, what on earth is all that about? But I appreciate Adam for coming on to sort of talk about, his perspective on IWA, what they're planning to do, and so on and so forth. And I admire him for doing that. Should we talk a little bit more about football?
Why not?
Right, we've talked about what happened on Monday. So obviously we're going to win tomorrow, aren't we? It's only Arsenal. What's your take, actually? Lopetegui, I found out during the week that Lopetegui was back in Spain during the international break because his father's really ill. So I kind of said in a show last week, I said, the stress of managing or coaching a Premier League club has taken its toll on him. That's before I knew what's been happening with it, in his private life. Now, I don't know how bad, his father is, etc. But do you think the pressure that is coming off the fan base yet again is appropriate for Lopetegui? Because we're going through what we went through with Moyes last season.
I mean, no, of course, this is not. People go about they want to see a different way of playing football. Yeah, I can get it. I understand more with Moyes. Yeah, because after 4 years, the football went from being pretty exciting. Yeah, in 2020, 2021, 21, 22, to being, we played football without the ball basically last season. Strangely enough, though, winning some big games with some great score lines that we all enjoyed, but with less than 30% possession of the ball. It's a different way of playing. It's football without the ball. Lopetegui is trying to change that. He's got to do it in the confines of he's not buying all the players. He gets his picks. But
what's your take on that, by the way?
Well,
let's be really honest. I mean, he's come out and gone, I can't play the football I want to play because I don't have the players available to me or whatever. But right. Yeah, you look at some of these signings. Kilman was his, definitely. You could argue potentially Soler, being the Spanish link is probably his. I would almost argue Rodriguez is, because he played in the Spanish league, so he would have known about him. So when he came out with that comment, do you think it's valid? Or do you think that perhaps the whole thing about having a technical director is just not the right thing for every club?
No, cool. It's a valid thing that he says when he says, these are not all my players, because at the end of the day, he's 3 months into the season, this is month 4 of the season. There's been one transfer window. A lot of people come in. There's a lot of players, still, still got Antonio running the line, who was someone said, was the right back from Upton Park. So if this is not, half or more than half are hung over from Moyes' time. But of course it is going to be like that, because it takes time to evolve. The manager, at no football club, at Man United playing the Amorim way yet. No. So why do they think after 10, 12 games, we were going to start?
People immediately turn around and go, look at the bloke that's taken over at Liverpool. look at
Oh,
Maresca
no,
has
I
taken
don't.
over at Chelsea.
Let's do that. So
Yeah.
look at Chelsea's form. Yeah, from January onwards. Yeah, form club in the Premier League. Pochettino leaving was a big shock actually in the end, because they would
He
have
got it
seen
right at the end,
on
didn't
the
he?
up. He got it right.
Yeah.
Yeah, made Cole Palmer a star, and some of the others. Then you get look at the Brighton bloke, but the Brighton bloke comes into a setup, as we've seen. It's not so much the coach at Brighton, but the setup. They
Yeah,
hire a
I've said
coach
this many a
that
time.
fits into
Yeah,
their setup. They buy the players that fits into their way of playing, and it's all
yeah.
analytic, and it's all to do with you know, patterns of play, what player fits into the way, the pattern of play, how far do they run, how much time do they spend on the ball, what team are they coming from, and what way do they play. So it's analytic driven. A lot of transfers now are analytic driven. I
Yeah.
may look at it with a bit of, I don't get it. But the funny thing is, I listen to a lot of shows now, and I've just listened to Rafa Benitez podcast, two of them,
Uh-huh.
and absolutely fascinating, actually, to listen to what made him successful, analytics, and he was doing it with videotapes. When you look back at what he went through, he was one of the first. And in a way, funny enough, Allardyce, my great nemesis, was one of the first English managers to embrace analytics and
Well, we
look at
knew that.
the
We kind
Opta
of
stats.
he
Yeah,
made a big deal about that. He
yeah,
used to talk about it,
yeah,
didn't he?
yeah. But what he takes is he takes his analytics and he looks at it and goes, well, if you get the ball in the box, yeah, and get the knockdown, you got more chance of scoring a goal. Now that ain't technically that worked. That was right. If you get
I think you're beginning to develop a soft spot for
well,
old
possibly,
Allardyce.
I think I have as well. But anyway, ages has softened me. But anyway, so you can see the sense behind it. Now, the funny thing about modern ways of playing football is someone will come up with a way to counteract it, and that's how
Yeah.
football evolves.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Good point.
the,
Yeah.
the football evolved. In England in the 50s, we played, I think, the WV formation or the VW formation or whatever it was, because it was drawn out like that shape. And then the Hungarians turned up, kicked our ass, and all of a sudden we play a different type of football. 4-4-2 then comes in.
Yeah.
You got the likes of Ron Greenwood, an innovation coach who learns off the Hungarians and brings it to West Ham. Passes that on West Ham ways, born out from that Hungarian football. 4-4-2. That dies out because people come up with 3-5-2. Then people have this with playing with a central striker but two wider players. So it then becomes 4-3-3, 3-4-3. 3-4-3 is something evolved from Dutch football under Cruyff. Hence they had a Barcelona. But what happens is that these teams will dominate football, and someone will come up with a way to beat that,
to counter it.
And what do is other coaches go and learn that. So people now will come up with a way to beat Pep. People will now go and look at that. Slot walks into a team. It's a bloody great team. Maresca's walked into a team. It's a bloody great team.
Yeah.
Klozek at Brighton's walked into a team that done really well last season.
Whereas we're not there because we've had to rebuild.
No.
Mandan asked, what's the podcast? What's the Benitez podcast called, or where do you find it?
I think it was called. It's a football history podcast. I think it's called It Was What It Was. But they've just done a 2-week episode with Benitez, about 2 hours, where they sit and talk to Benitez and talk about his career up to when he gets to Liverpool and wins the Champions League. And when you listen to how he evolved as a football coach, and it is funny because Benitez never made it as a pro. So he's possibly like Mourinho. You think he came to England and they used that. He came to England at the same time as Mourinho. and they'd both had success. Mourinho with Porto, him with Valencia. He won the Spanish League twice in 3 seasons and won the UEFA Cup with Valencia. Breaks up the Barcelona Real Madrid monopoly. But he came out of Real Madrid. He was a Real Madrid youth coach. And they're saying, if you look now, there are 7 managers in the Premier League from the Iberian Peninsula. I think 3 Portuguese, 4 Spanish, of which we've got 1.
And do you see? I mean, a lot of people criticise, and please don't get this wrong, people. I'm not going to start praising Sullivan in any way, but do you see why then Sullivan gets attracted to a manager like Lopetegui? And why he still hankers. People say he still hankers for Benitez and people like that, because he looks at their success record, and he will go, "Oh, I'll have some of that."
Well, yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, at Seville, Lopetegui had success. Now, Lopetegui's career, but Lopetegui's career has been very mixed, though, hasn't it?
It has been mixed, but when he went to, I mean, I did this when we were linked to him. And I've said this a million times, when the first season he went to Seville, but he was with Manchi, the director of football at Aston Villa.
Yeah,
and he's the one that got brought in. Like they took 20 players out of the team and brought 17 in, or 16 in, and they won the Europa League and they finished 4th in the Spanish league and all that. So you look at that and you go, well, there's something that there's clearly this man knows what he's doing. No. And I kind of get why Sullivan went for him.
Yeah, but is it a bit of a strange thing? Because if you look at the way the Germans play football, it's different to the way the Spanish play football.
Well, we fucking realise that now, given that we've got a German technical director.
So
who's got one idea of football.
No, so therefore, do realistically, should we have gone out and hired a German-based manager?
Well, yeah, possibly, yeah. Yeah.
Is it that there's 2 cogs here of a different wheel and they don't line up?
Or are they beginning to align?
Well, only time will tell. And this is the thing.
Because one game's not enough, is it?
No. And this is the funny thing. This is the funny thing is that you get people going, oh, sack him. He wins one game in a good manner and everything, and they go, oh, I was wrong about him. And I think, well, I don't say I'm right about him, and we won the game. I don't think I'm right not to sack him. All I'm saying is, let's give it time and see where it goes. We wanted to, the fan base wanted rid of Moyes. We got rid of Moyes. If you want to change the manager that much, get your £1 billion out, buy the club. Let's see what you can do. But until you get your £1 billion out, you can't do it. So don't waste your time.
Let's get on to tomorrow, because who would you the lineup in the game? I was actually when I saw the lineup, I was like, oh, we don't have a holding midfielder, and that concerned me a little bit. I've been like, my brain automatically goes, oh, let's see what the lineup is, and where's the holding midfielder? And I got worried. I thought, Jesus, they're going to run right through us. I know, how wrong was I? Would you have the same starting lineup tomorrow as what started against?
Well, yeah, look, it's a thing with me with formations and players is if you keep chopping and changing, it's more likely to go wrong. I've always been a believer of the player that you win the game, the player that wears the shirt keeps the shirt. And, I can't, why would you change it? But here's the thing, let's get this right. We do know that Arsenal have got players that are infinitely better than Newcastle.
Yeah.
So if with my head, I'm like thinking, could be a 2-0, 3-0 defeat here. But then again, I thought that when we went, it weren't Boxing Day, was it? But it was Christmas. We was at the Emirates. and nobody thought we'd win, and we did.
Yeah, snatch. That night was a
That
snatch
was
and
a
grab.
smash and grab. Yeah,
That was that was a smash and grab night. It was. I remember coming out of that stadium and thinking, did we just?
The only bad thing about it is that I had to get the beers in because I was with all my Gooner mates. and if you think the beer's dear at London Stadium,
Well, the irony,
buy a beer or 6.
Last season we had 2 smash and grabs last season. They were against Arsenal and Spurs.
Yeah.
When Spurs should have wiped the floor with us in the first half.
Yeah.
And then we came out in the second half and changed our tact, and hassled them and got the result.
Actually, if truth be honest, I'm more looking at what we do at Leicester and what we do at Wolves.
You see, I'm not, because I feel I feel that we could potentially, I don't know, get a draw tomorrow or whatever, and we'll go to Leicester and we'll get beat.
Yeah, well,
that's what my ears telling me, and I believe Van Nistelrooy has just become their manager, hasn't he?
Has he? Well,
yeah, and I think his first game in charge is against.
I'd look forward. I look forward to the West Ham fans then going, God, look what we could have had. Because you can bet your life someone's going to say it.
Well, of course they will. Well, just like they said, look what we could have had with Amorim. We don't know. I think Amorim will end up being a pretty good manager in the Premier League. I'm pretty certain he will be, but it will take him time. It would probably take him time.
Well,
because he's got a big rebuild to do at Man United, isn't he? So
in Portugal, we only had 1 or 2 clubs to get past.
This time round, yeah,
and finances are more equal in Portugal. This time round, he ain't, and the Premier League's chewed up better managers than him. Ten Hag was equally, if not more, successful in Holland than he was in Portugal. And we see how that ended.
Quite surprising, actually, because I've got a Man United mate at work when Ten Hag came in, and the first thing he said was he's going to sort this team out.
Yeah,
he's going to finally sort this team out. All these prima donnas at Man United, he's going to get rid of them, and he's going to sort out. He's going to put some balance.
And he was worse than Moyes at Man United.
That is saying something, isn't it? Really.
I look forward to him managing West Ham in 5 years' time.
Yeah. All right. What? So people are, and I'm thinking, because it is a very different team to Newcastle, and no disrespect to Newcastle because they got decent players, but I'm thinking, does Alvarez come back in to try? No. Definitely not. So would you go with the team that started?
Yeah, I would. Because what will happen is you bring Alvarez in. That's almost instantly a defensive move.
It's a defensive move, and then who's going to drop for him? And
so what does that say?
Like Somerville, or it could be like Souček, and neither of them would deserve to get dropped.
Yeah. So what does that say though? What message does that give to Arsenal?
Yeah, we're on the defense. Yeah,
we're on the back foot straight away.
Yeah.
Let's go in, because I'm not saying it's a free hit. When it's a game that you don't expect to win, why not go out
and go for it?
Actually, the fans, if we attack, and get beat, get picked off, and lose 2-3-0, I think the fans would be more forgiving than if we have 22% possession and get beat 3-0.
Yeah,
and have 2 shots, because this is where it does come down to what the fans want to see. I can look back to a 5-1 defeat to Leeds United, where we had 3 players sent off, and I walked out of there going, "Oh, what a game of football that was!" We got beat 5-1, but because of the way we played, especially when we lost, I think it was Lomas and I think Craig Forrest got sent off when we lost them 2, so we're down to 9 men. We still kept attacking, and the crowd were on the player's side, and
because we were going for it, because we were showing intent. Exactly. And this is what it's all about, isn't it? At the end of the day, this is what it's all about. I've kind of said that, I want to see of course the result's important, of course it is, but I want to see endeavour by the team. And when we turned up at hang on a minute, what's happened there?
Good picture of you.
Can you still hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Oh, but why can't you see me? Well, when we turn, I'll get that sorted in a minute. When we turned up on Monday, I didn't know what to expect. I wasn't sure what to expect. You know, I certainly didn't expect the performance that we put in. And people were talking about, oh, if Isaac had scored, the chance that he had. But you know, as I said in the review, we had 6 shots on target. If we'd scored some of the chances we had, we would have beaten them. You know,
people never. Yeah,
whatever.
but when people pick and choose, they're only going to pick the bit that suits their argument, aren't they?
Well, yeah, that's true. That's very true. So what are you predicting tomorrow? Because I'm seeing that we're getting up to the 2-hour mark, and we said we weren't going to do a 3-hour show.
Lose. I'm afraid I know Arsenal have had a semi-sticky patch, but I think, you know, the 5-1 win to Sport in Lisbon, when I had them down to lose 3-0, you know, I don't know if it was I've watched the highlights. I don't know if it was an Amorim hangover, or the fact that you know, this was the team that beat Man City, and at home got beat 5-1 to Arsenal, and Arsenal did look, you know, let's hope that took something out of them. That's all I'll say. But I just, you know, I can't this is my head saying, I just can't see us with the quality that Arsenal have got getting anything.
Yeah, I kind of half thinking that, but at the same time, I'm taking encouragement from the game against Newcastle on a cold Monday night, when I thought we were going to go and get tonked up there. Even though I said 2-2, I kind of said 2-2 rather cheekily.
Yeah.
But I thought, you know, we're going to lose. And to actually come away with a 2-0 and a clean sheet, to actually come away with a clean sheet.
2 clean sheets on the trot
in a row,
we hadn't kept a clean sheet since the Palace game.
Yeah, but let's not forget the other clean sheet was that turgid performance against Everton.
No, but and this is where it's strange, isn't it? Because after the Everton performance, who thought that would then happen next?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, and you look at it, and you can tear yourself apart if you do it. Because you think, if we'd have beat Everton, you know, we'd have only been 6 points behind Man City. You know, we'd have been
absolute irony. Absolute irony.
You know, 2 points behind Spurs and stuff like that. This season's going to be strange, because there's going to be a compression, I believe, in the middle of the table, where you're going to have 7, 8 teams, a bit like how the Championship is year in, year out. You could have 7, 8 teams separated by 4 points.
Yeah, could be, yeah. And we could, who knows, you know, another couple of wins. I mean,
well, December's I have said it for a long time. December's the crunch month for him.
I agree. I do agree. I agree, because even though I've never believed that, you know, the next 2 games were going to be telling for him, the Newcastle and Arsenal games. You know, for me, it's about what happens with Leicester, Wolves, Bournemouth. You know, we've got all these teams, and they're not winnable games, but you're expecting to do.
This was the mad thing when I look at Bournemouth, and you're saying, well, the next manager that apparently West Ham were lining up was Andolini in it at Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And then when you looked at it, we were a couple of points behind Bournemouth. And you look at it and you think, so what has he achieved? Is he the man? Because discussion for another day is, what do people expect from West Ham?
I don't know anymore. I mean, you know, because when I sort of hear, and I get it, I hear what people say, we want to be entertained, etc. And you've said it, you know, before. Well, we were entertained in the past. You know, there've been some fantastic games in the past, but we've lost. You know, so I do wonder. I do really wonder if, you know, if we did get a, you know, whoever, Van Nistelrooy and Amorim or whatever, and we were playing really, really good football, but we were getting tonked every week. I wonder how far it will go before fans were starting to say, well, clearly they ain't working. We've got to get this person out. We need someone a bit more pragmatic, etc. It's the way we are, isn't it, really? You know, because, and I get it, you know, I'm not talking about going back to the Moyes era, you know, and like you've said and I've said, you know, his time had come and passed. He could have easily saved his job. I still maintain that. If it had changed his ways halfway through last season, started playing with a little bit more, like you said, the way we were playing during lockdown, he would have saved his job.
Yeah.
You know, he would have stayed manager at West Ham and rebuilt again. But
the thing I still don't hear from Moyes when he's interviewed is him acknowledge the regression in the way we play for whatever reason, because it was different when you first turned up to the end. It was different.
It was different, and I don't know why he regressed, didn't he, as a manager? Yeah, because he went in almost into his shell. I don't know why that is, but okay. Lopetegui tomorrow. If we win tomorrow, what is the expectation going to be like? We will win and lose against Leicester. You know it will happen.
We'd all be happy though, wouldn't we?
Of course we fucking would.
Yeah.
Right. We promised ourselves midnight was the witching hour.
Cut off.
That's what we're going to do.
Cut off one.
No, it was a bit of a different show tonight, and I do appreciate Adam having come on. You know, and I really am so sorry that we don't get round to picking off your comments, etc. But what we'll do in 2 weeks' time, what I promised in 2 weeks' time, is we'll just do a Q&A. You know, because that went well the other week. So in the show in 2 weeks' time, we'll just sit here and all you got to do is prepare your questions. We're going to have 2 games between now and then. We got we'll have 3.
3.
Yeah,
we've got
so
Arsenal,
we've got Arsenal,
Wolves.
Leicester, Wolves.
That's it.
So there'll be 3 games to discuss in 2 weeks' time. There's going to be lots to discuss.
And I'll sit in my shed.
Yeah. If you notice, Nigel weren't in the shed tonight because it was a little bit cold. Thank you all for watching. I'm really sorry about not putting up more of your comments, but we'll do that in a couple of weeks. Look out for the shows that are coming up. Any last words, Mr. Khan?
No, we'll anything if you're about. We'll be by the swimming pool tomorrow before the game.
For the concessions.
So the protest continues. So I'll be around there at some point, about 4 o'clock-ish.
Are you going? Have you been at a supporters club lately? Okay, let's not go there. Do that offline. So if you want to come and see Nigel, he's going to be. I'll pass by. I'll say hello.
Yeah.
And see you. So do that. What's it called? What's the name of the swimming pool?
Aquatic Centre.
The Aquatic Centre. There you go.
So
you can see Nigel there, and
it's a swimming pool.
It's a swimming pool. Thank you all for watching, and thank you for your comments. And we'll see you all very soon.